All right, so we're going to show you how to change a battery in the Ford Escape Hybrid and the Mercury Mariners. Tools that you're going to need sockets, an 8, a 10, and a 13. You're also going to need a Phillips screwdriver and a pry bar. Everything that I'm holding in my hand is all that you need to get this battery out, with the exception of a Mauricio. You're going to need someone to help you lift this battery out because it's pretty heavy. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is remove this carpet here. I recommend taking this trim piece out because the carpet is shoved underneath, and when you're reinstalling, it's difficult to shove it in there properly. So you're going to want to just lift underneath and pry up. I've already loosened this one a little bit, but it's going to pop coming out. When you're pulling up, you want to make sure that you're putting you're lifting from where the clips are. Because say you have this clip here and you're pulling over here, you're going to bend it and break it off. So you've got 3 clips, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Start with one side and pry up that way. So I'll put this to the side. Now this is almost ready to come out. Usually it's tucked underneath the interior like that. You do not need to remove the side interior. You can just pretty much take the carpet out. So I'm going to fold the seats down. And you got these pins to pull up. These most of the time are broken and they come out real easy. So lift this piece up and you can take the entire piece of carpet out. Now the next thing is the foam piece right here. It should just lift up and come right out. And then now we're going to focus on disconnecting the electrical on the back, and then we're going to move up to the vents and unsecure the battery from the vehicle. So here's the safety plug, and notice there's a little dot right there. That's actually an indicator, and it's in the lock position. If we turn this to the unlock position, then it'll come out. So twist it to the left, now it's in the unlock, and you just physically remove it. Just pull it out, and the safety plug is out. Now the high voltage has been cut in half. So we've got 2 sides to deal with for the electrical. You've got the low voltage wiring over there and the high voltage over here. The low voltage wiring, you're going to need your 10 millimeter, and let's go and screw that. Okay, so here are the 2 electrical connectors. Some versions do not have this one right here. If yours doesn't have it, don't worry. So you're going to put the 10 millimeter on the back and just loosen it. And after probably 7 or 8 rotations, it should be free. Even when it's completely free, it's still a little stiff to turn. Okay, so now that pulls out. This here, there's going to be a clip back here you need to push on. So push down, pull out. Once again, the clip is right here, so just push with your thumb, pull out. Now we're done with this side, let's move to the high voltage side. So now over here, we've got to undo this right here. It's a Phillips screwdriver, and then we've got a 13 millimeter bolt there. So this doesn't always work perfectly. I unscrewed it and it came up just like it should. Sometimes it keeps spinning and doesn't move. If that's the case, you're going to want to get a screwdriver and lift up underneath. And obviously be careful for that little piece, it just pops right out. So we've got that undone. Now we're going to do the 13. Unscrewed like that. Now the fact that this metal cover pops up like that tells me that somebody has already been in here. Now in order to get this metal cover off to access this, you've got to remove this seat. What we do that works perfectly fine is you can just take this and pull it up and bend it out of the way. Now we're going to need to release this high voltage safety plug. So there's a clip back over here. It's on the back side. Let's see if we can get a good angle on that for you. Okay. So now that we've got the cover up, we need to take this clip off, and you need to push down right here on this piece. This can be a little challenging. It's meant to be difficult because they don't want it to come undone on X, and so you're going to push down, and this lever right here is going to move up. So let's try that. Yeah, there we go. So now you would normally pull that plug all of the way out. Just leave it like that. Don't worry about pulling it out. When we remove the battery, it will come out. So now let's go move to the cooling system vents. Okay, so now we're going to take off this vent. We've got some 8mm bolts to take off, and then we have another one of those plastic screws. So it's 1, 2. Okay, we've got those out. Let's take care of that one over there. Okay, once again, unscrew it. Okay, now watch for the little screw, don't let it drop out. Okay, now we should be able to remove this whole piece. This I'm leaving in there, but it may pop out when I take it out, so be careful for that. Cool. So now the cooling system is undone. All we need to do is unbolt the battery from the frame of the vehicle, and it's ready to come out. Okay, so now we're going to grab all of the 13mm bolts around the perimeter, and the battery should be free to come out. 1, 2, 3, stubborn one. 4, excuse me, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's it. Let's take it out. All right, so now we're ready to remove the battery. Now there are straps on the side of this battery and a special crane and attachment to pull it out. We don't have that. The technicians that I know of at the Ford dealerships don't even use it. We've got a much easier way. It requires 2 people and something like a pry bar. So what you want to do is get underneath the battery and lift up, and it might crunch the first time it's breaking free because it is on some studs. Then when you lift it up, you and your partner, you want to grab it from underneath, and you're going to lift up and pull back. Are you ready, Mauricio?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. One more. All right. So what we do is we stop right when it's teetering on the back. We re-grab, get a better grab on it, and then from there we'll actually remove it. That way you don't try and pull it out in one run, and I'm holding on this corner, he's holding on those, and then it becomes off balance. So just a small little safety tip. So just grab it and we'll put it on the ground and it'll be out. And that's it. So next is going to be the reinstallation. Okay, so now we're going to reinstall the remanufactured battery. The only thing that you need for this is a little bit of muscle and a lot of Mauricio. So we're going to put this in now. We're going to bring it on over. We're going to set it here and balance it on this. We're going to reposition and let it slide in. These batteries have a tendency to want to fall and slide in. Try and not let that happen so nothing gets smashed. And then everything should just line up right into place. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then let's go a little bit more towards your side. Okay. Okay.
Let's go.
I'm ready to sit down.
Me too.
Okay. And then this last little part, the easiest way to get it in without smashing your fingers is just give it a final push. It'll fall into place. There's nothing for it to really damage or hurt. So we'll just give it a nudge.
There you go.
And it's in. It has some studs that it falls right into, so it lines into place. So the first thing you want to do when you get it in is make sure that everything is good with the battery and start it up. all you need to do for that is those two connectors, the high voltage cables and the safety plug. Also, you're going to want to erase all of the error codes out of the computer, and then it should be good to start. So let's start with reconnecting the electrical over there. Then we'll move to the high voltage wires and then the safety plug. Okay, so now this connector, you're going to shove it right in, and then you're going to need a 10mm ratchet. You're going to want to tighten. And as you're tightening, you want to be pushing the connector inwards so the threads get started. And then now that it's started, I'm going to twist it with my fingers just to save time. And you can feel it going in farther and farther. All right. Just tighten until it gets snug. You do not need to make this very tight. Alright, so spinning at a consistent resistance, then all of a sudden it started to get tight. So just let it get into that snug area and you can stop then. You don't need to tighten it down really tight. That plugs in. Now we're going to go over to the high voltage cables. Okay, so now we're going to connect this. The first thing you want to make sure is this lever is facing up. You don't want it all of the way back. So with the lever facing up, make sure it's lined up, and as you push this lever down, the actual plug should move inwards and lock. And there you go, now it's in. Some versions have an electrical connector that you need to plug in right here. This one does not have it. Now that that's plugged in, we'll put in the safety plug and it should be good to start. Alright, now with the safety plug, we've got the dot right here. We're going to put that in and line it up with unlock, and then we're going to twist it to lock. If it's in the unlock position, it will not start. It'll set an error code talking about interlock. So let's go and try and start the car. So we've erased all of the codes out of the computer's memory. Now we're going to go and give it a start. If the engine turns on and stays on for more than a few seconds, then we know that the battery is functioning properly. Cool. The car's beeping at us because we've got the rear hatch open. But that's good. There's no warning lights on the dash. The engine's staying running. Sometimes if you have battery issues, the engine will still start, run for 2 seconds, and then turn off. Obviously, that's not the case with this. Okay, so now we're going to, now that we've got it in and everything starts and is good, just for the principle of the matter, we're going to pull out the safety plug. And now we're going to put these 9 bolts back in and tighten them all the way down. One thing to note is there's 9 bolts that go all the way around, but I've got 10 in my hand. I've got one that is much shorter. This short one is the one that goes over this cover. So make sure that all these bolts that you're putting in are all the same length, and we're going to save this one for a later step. Okay, so now I'm going to go and tighten all 9 of them. Cool. So now that's done. Let's next do the high voltage cables. Okay, so now when we push this back down, it doesn't stay, that's fine. We're going to put it down, put the bolt in, put the plastic clip in, and it'd be done. When we push this down and put it in, remember, always start bolts by hand, at least 3 full revolutions, then you can tighten with an impact gun if that's what you're using. That's it, we're done over there. So now this is the last part for the hybrid battery. After this, it's all just cosmetic stuff and, you know, upholstery. There are 5 places that we need to secure this. And remember, one of them had a plastic clip, which was that one. So place this back in. This is the air duct that allows the air to come in and out. So let's start all of the bolts by hand. I'm going to do this one last once it's already in place. Now these bolts do not need to be very tight, so just go down till they're snug. Here we go. From doing this over and over, I turn down the power on the gun and I know how tight to make it, so it's just a feel. If you're not very familiar with impact guns, I recommend that you do this by hand. So, put that in, shove in the plastic screw, and we're done. Now let's put back the upholstery and it's good to go. Next is the foam. We're going to put this in. This spot with the gap is on the passenger side. Just falls right in. Next we're going to put the carpet in. Okay, so I just threw the carpet in. There are these two clips that will help hold it in place that you shove down in through these holes, and it lines up in that foam piece we put in. Now on your car, these a lot of the times break when they come out. What I mean is they break the female hole, so it doesn't stay in there really tight. So that's normal, it's not a big issue, it just helps keep the carpet from shifting around. Tuck the carpet in under the upholstery all of the way around. And then tuck this down here. And then last we're going to put the plastic piece on, but I actually forgot we need to put the safety plug in before the carpet. Just pull that up, unlock position, push it down, twist it to lock, it's good. Alright, so the last piece, make sure that all three of these pins line up with these holes. Should kind of pop into place like that, and then when you're done, so we're done. That's how easy it is to replace these batteries. Thank you very much for choosing Electron, and if you have any questions at all, go ahead and call the number below and we'll help you out with anything that you need.